everyone, welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host, Shivangi Mishra. Let's begin with the headlines first. Afghan refugees reluctantly return to Taliban rule as Pakistan expels 1.7 million. Anti-Pakistan protest rages on in POK, administration tortures students and locals. And India celebrate National Unity Day with fervour. Let's begin the show. In a significant diplomatic development, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, recently visited Himalayan nation, Nepal, for a 4-day official visit. Global conflicts, the impact of climate change, and Nepal's transitional justice system were among the topics by Guterres. In terms of transitional justice, he applauded initiatives to advance the cause and identify solutions. The visit is observed as evidence of Nepal's expanding influence in international affairs.
Kathmandu rolled out the red carpet for Secretary General of the United Nations Antonio Guterres, who recently paid a 4-day diplomatic visit to Nepal. The official visit of the UN Secretary General has generated palpable excitement among the people of Nepal. Later that day, he had a meeting with the Prime Minister of Nepal and other high-ranking officials to talk about a variety of topics such as sustainable development, climate change, and Nepal's involvement in UN peacekeeping operations. The visit also included site visits and discussions about Nepal's development projects, highlighting the close cooperation between Nepal and the United Nations. After a visit to the area near Mount Everest, the world's highest peak, UN Chief Antonio Guterres emphasized that Nepal's snow-capped mountains have lost close to 1/3 of their ice in over 30 years due to global warming. He warned that glaciers that lie in high regions of Everest and other regions of Nepal have melted 65% faster in the last decade than in the previous one.
On this trip, I will visit the Himalayas to see for myself the terrible impact of the climate crisis on the glaciers. The situation is dire and it is accelerating. Nepal has lost close to 1/3 of its ice in just over 30 years, and glaciers are melting at record rates. The impact on communities is devastating, and I will meet local people in the Himalayas to hear directly from them about how they are affected.
In his speech to the joint session of the Federal Parliament of Nepal during his official visit, Antonio Guterres urged the government to guarantee transitional justice while keeping the victims at the forefront. The government signed a peace agreement in 2006, ensuring transitional justice, ushering in the end of the centuries-long monarchy. However, no significant steps have been taken in that direction as yet. Suggesting measures to make the efforts focusing on the victims, Guterres also extended support to drive the progress and find solutions.
You are preparing the final stages of our Nepal-led peace process, healing the wounds of war through transitional justice. A process to bring peace to victims, families and communities haunted by questions and scared by injustice, and help put the past to rest.
Several people lost their lives and many others were injured in the landmines planted during the insurgency. The transitional justice process, however, has failed to accommodate them. Even the 11 committee member, which comprises representatives from different parties, has not been able to ensure justice. Moreover, Guterres engaged in a range of high-level discussions. He also met with key figures in the Nepalese government, including President Ramchandra Paudel, former PM Madhav Kumar Nepal, and other senior officials.
राष्ट्रिय उचाइलाई माथि उठाएको छ। नेपालको महत्त्वलाई विश्व समुदायको समक्ष उजागर गरेको छ र जुन विषयवस्तुहरू अगाडि सारिएको छ खास गरेर शान्ति प्रक्रियासँग जोडिएको सङ्क्रमणकालीन न्यायसँग जोडिएको विषयमा नेपालकै पहलकदमीमा यो विषयवस्तुलाई अगाडि बढाउने र समाधान गर्ने जुन प्रयत्न भएको प्रशंसा गरिएको छ त्यो हाम्रो निम्ति गौरवको कुरा पनि हो।
Optimism was visible in the delegation of Nepal, which has been seeking United Nations support for a long time. The United Nations remains dedicated to supporting Nepal in its journey towards a more prosperous and just future.
In a recent development in South Asia that sends shockwaves across the region, millions of Afghan refugees living in Pakistan are facing expulsion, leading to their reluctant return to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. This situation is causing immense concern and raising questions about the ongoing humanitarian crisis. Moreover, the fate of these innocent Afghan refugees remain uncertain. We have a detailed report. An announcement by Pakistan that unregistered Afghan refugees must depart the country has sent deep concerns to many. The Afghans living in Pakistan are left with no option but to return to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. 35-year-old Afghan refugee Muhammad Rain boarded a bus headed from Karachi to the Afghan border. Rahim was born in Pakistan and is married to a Pakistani woman. He expressed his reluctance to leave.
अगर हुकूमत नहीं बोलती है हम सारी ज़िंदगी नहीं जाते। मैंने आपसे पहले कहा ना तो हम वहाँ की बोली जानते ना वहाँ के लोगों के साथ रहने में हम लोग आदी है ना बस हम हमारी सारी ज़िंदगी यही हो गई है। हम इसी चीज़ से वाकिफ़ है, यही बच्चे बड़े हुए हैं, यही की पैदाइश है हमारी और कराची शहर को हम अच्छी तरीके से समझते भी है तो हम नहीं जाना चाहते। हमें अगर ना भेजे तो हम तो सारी ज़िंदगी नहीं जाएंगे।
According to the Taliban government, 60,000 Afghans have returned from September 23 to October 22 from Pakistan after it announced on October 4 that it would expel undocumented migrants. The sudden influx of returning refugees creates a severe crisis in Afghanistan. It has exerted pressure on already limited resources that are already stretched by sanctions on its banking sector and the slashing in foreign aid since the takeover of the Taliban.
मेरे हस्बैंड भी नहीं बाहर भी नहीं निकलते हैं। मेरे कुछ दिन पहले मैं बीमार हुई थी, मेरी दवाई इधर नहीं मिल रही थी, फिर नहीं गए। कह रहे मैं अलासिफ तक नहीं जा सकती कि पुलिस सब लोगों को पकड़ती है। अलासिफ तक नहीं गए मेरे हस्बैंड, ये दवाई की वजह से नहीं गए अलासिफ। अभी तक मैंने अपनी दवाई भी नहीं लिया, ये पुलिस की वजह से नहीं गए अलासिफ तक के नहीं जाते हैं। मेरे हस्बैंड की पुलिस पकड़ती है।
The Taliban government is already grappling with myriad challenges, including economic instability and major security concerns. The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, and the International Organization for Migration stated that Pakistan's plans create serious protection risks for women and girls forced to leave. Restrictions, especially on female non-governmental organizations workers, have led to shrinking employment opportunities for women in Afghanistan. Moreover, for many migrants, Pakistan is the only home they know, providing sanctuary from economic hardship and extreme social conservatism in Afghanistan. Samar Abbas of the Sindh Human Rights Defenders Network emphasized that despite the difficulties, Pakistan is a vital haven for many Afghans. His organization is helping 200 Afghans who want to stay in the nation.
There is a chaos in the Afghan camps in Karachi, and the people are not leaving their home, they are not leaving their community, the children are not going to their school, the students are not going to their colleges, the youngsters are not going to their job, people are not going to their businesses, and because they have a fear of becoming a victim of state harassment, or the police is asking for a huge bribe money on the check post from them.
The decision by Pakistan to relocate these Afghan refugees is compelling them to make the heart-wrenching choice of returning to a country still under Taliban rule. Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Identical twins from all over Sri Lanka competed for the titles of Miss and Mr. Twins 2023 in the capital, Colombo. Contestants aged between 16 and 30 were judged in categories like Most Photogenic, Best Talent and Mirror Imaginary, which tested how well one twin could replicate the movements of the other. The beauty pageant was the first of its kind in the country. Winners will represent Sri Lanka at the Global Miss and Mr. Twins Beauty Pageant to be held in Colombo in mid-April 2024. Sri Lanka Twins organizers said it expects 4,000 twins to compete in the global pageant, which will feature contestants from more than 50 countries. The Israeli army said its forces were on high alert on the Israeli-Lebanese border as cross-border fire continued. Lebanon's Hezbollah said it destroyed an Israeli drone over South Lebanon with a surface-to-air missile, an account disputed by Israel's military, which confirmed the missile launch but said its aircraft suffered no damage. The number of Hezbollah fighters killed since fighting with Israel erupted last month rose to 50, with the Iran-backed group announcing another death. Dancing unicorns, colorful floats and marching groups dazzled the streets of Key West, Florida during the 2023 Fantasy Fest parade marking Halloween celebrations. Dozens of parade participants marched through the island city's downtown and entertained thousands of spectators. Some sported unicorn-inspired costumes based on this year's festival theme, Uniforms and Unicorns, 200 Years of Sailing into Fantasy. Caribbean-style dancers were also seen at the event. Fantasy Fest Parade is part of the 10-day Halloween festival featuring costume-themed events and competitions for children and grown-ups. The festival began to be held in 1979 to boost tourism in Key West during the low season.
Moving on. There is a massive civil obedience movement going on against Pakistan and their stooge administration in POK. The locals took to the streets against galloping inflation, high electricity bills, and many other issues perturbing the residents. The protests have further intensified ever since university students too have joined force against the illegal regime of POK. Rattled with the widespread protests, the administration in POK has given a free rein to security forces to arrest and carry out atrocities against the students and locals, rather than addressing the pressing issues of the general public. We have a report.
The illegally occupied POK region is echoing with massive protests against Pakistan and its stooge administration. 4 months on, there have been continuous protests all across Pakistan-occupied Kashmir against sky-high inflation, heavy electricity bills and taxes. The resentment among the residents seems to intensify further if their concerns are not addressed at the moment. The local administration, apathetic towards the demands of the public, has launched a brutal crackdown rather than listening to their concerns. the protests have taken the shape of a civil disobedience movement against the POK administration.
At the moment, there is a massive civil disobedience movement going on in Pakistani occupied Jammu and Kashmir. This movement has now culminated into a broad-based civil disobedience movement. It kicked off after people started protesting against the added fuel charges on electricity bills and taxes. But now all different organizations have come together.
People from all walks of life have joined the movement. Women, children, activists, and now these students too have come forward to lead the protests against the injustice they say has been done with Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
Now the students are the students are the catalyst in any given movement, and once the students start to participate on mass scale in a civil disobedience movement, then the quality of that movement becomes different. It changes in its quality. It's not a sporadic movement. Now it's a concrete movement.
The local administration, believed to be rattled with the ongoing protests across the POK, has started targeting students for joining the movement. The administration allegedly failed a large number of first-year university students in Mirpur after they were found joining the local protests happening across the region.
On the 17th of October, when the students were protesting against electricity bills and demanding justice, the results for the first year students all over POJK was released on the same day, and many of those students, majority of the students, were failed in that exam, and that has now provoked a reaction from the students all over Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir, and in every city there are protests.
The psychological warfare tactic the local administration employed to curb these student protests has backfired. The anti-establishment sentiment in students and the locals has further emboldened, and a more coordinated effort is being made to overthrow Pakistan's stooge administration from POK. To quell the movement, the police in POK has been given a free rein to torture and arrest these students. They have been directed to employ all the inhuman means at their disposal.
Students are taking out protests, they are being arrested, they are being harassed. Hundreds of students have gone underground. They were planning to attend the 28th of October rally in Muzaffarabad, which again has been called by the Jammu Kashmir Joint Awami Action Committee, and there's a crackdown going on students, and they are young students, like 16-17-year-old students, but they are united now, and they're fighting not only against this injustice in which they have been failed, but now they are also up against the state of Pakistan. They want independence.
Under no circumstances, the activists and general public seem to relent upon their movement against Pakistan and its proxy administration. In coming days, the protests against the illegal regime in POK could only embolden, as per the current mood and sentiment seen in the public.
India, a land of diverse cultures and rich history, has been home to numerous legendary freedom fighters and leaders who have dedicated their lives to the nation's welfare. One such iconic figure is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, often referred to as the Iron Man of India. Today, we bring you a special feature on the celebrations of National Unity Day, dedicated to commemorating the remarkable contributions of this statesman who played a pivotal role in uniting the nation.
जो काम हमें करना है वो काम हम करें तो सारी दुनिया में हिंदुस्तान जो अपना योग्य स्थान है वो ले सकता है.
India is often considered the homeland of many renowned freedom fighters and distinctive figures who dedicated their entire lives to the welfare of the country. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, also known as the Iron Man of India, is one such legend of the nation who worked all his life to unite people and for the union of India. Sardar Patel is considered a driving force behind building of the nation as he took on the arduous task of integrating India in 1947, which was then divided into small princely states. His statesmanship and witful diplomatic abilities proved crucial in persuading princely states to become part of India. To pay tribute to his contribution to the freedom movement of India and towards uniting states to form one nation, the country recently celebrated National Unity Day on the 31st of October in remembrance of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel.
जब हम देश में एकता का ये प्रवाह देखते हैं, जब 140 करोड़ भारतीयों में एकजुटता के ये भाव देखते हैं, तो ऐसा लगता है जैसे सरदार साहब के आदर्श ही एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत का संकल्प बनकर हमारे भीतर दौड़ रहे हैं. मैं इस पावन अवसर पर सरदार वल्लभभाई पटेल के चरणों में नमन करता हूं.
The birth anniversary of Sardar Patel, National Unity Day, was celebrated with great fervour and enthusiasm across the country. On the occasion, a number of programs were held at the Statue of Unity in Gujarat, followed by tableaus from different states showcasing the cultural diversity of the nation. During the event, daredevil stunts by the women contingent of the Central Reserve Police Force, CRPF, symbolizing women's empowerment, were also demonstrated, as Sardar Patel is considered the founder of the CRPF.
उन्होंने हमें एकता के लिए हमेशा प्रेरणा दी है. एकता में रहना चाहिए, यूनिटी में रहना चाहिए. सबसे स्पेशल बात है कि हम भारतीयों को यूनिटी में रहना चाहिए. और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी जो हैं वो भी, उन्होंने भी हमें बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेरणा दी है एकता में रहने के लिए.
Various events and programs were also organized at the district and state level, as different states organized Run for Unity, a marathon to showcase India's ancient value system of unity in diversity. People from all walks of life, regardless of their cultural, regional and religious disparities, together participated in the Unity Run to show the world that India is one and united.
इस यूनिटी डे के लिए आज एनसीसी ने एक इनिशिएटिव लिया जिसके अंदर हम इसको यूनिटी रन बोल रहे हैं, और ये ना केवल मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ में बल्कि ऑल ओवर इंडिया में ये यूनिटी रन आज एनसीसी के अंडर ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया.
इसका मेन मकसद है एकजुट यूनिटी, जो देश की यूनिटी उसको एक साथ करने का. और हमारे यहाँ भोपाल के यूनिट ने वो चीज़ एक आगे कदम बढ़ाया है इसको पूरा करने के लिए. मुझे अच्छा है कि मैं इस चीज़ का हिस्सा हूँ, ये जो यूनिटी राष्ट्रीय एकता दिवस की है उसके लिए.
India will always be indebted to the contribution made by personalities like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in shaping the nation. All his life he worked towards uniting the people and bringing them together under his ideology of unity in diversity. Even today, his principles continue to guide the younger generation. It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We'll be back next week at the same time. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.